Welcome to O'Talkin' with Dave. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you are doing well. I am top shelf and ready to go. It's just, I don't know when this is going to air, but it's Friday. I love Fridays, but not because I hate my job or I hate the week or anything. It's this time of year. It's college football. Love it, love it, love it. I'll watch anybody play. And the good thing about West Coast is game day starts at 6 in the morning. I can go all day long with as much college football as I want. And my wife's into it. We have we're going to eat a lot. We're going to have a good time because the thing I like about college football is the competition. It's the competition. And literally maybe not, but anybody can beat anybody. I love the upsets. I don't like it when my team loses, which they do. But it's just it's not trampled down by all the trappings of professional sports. You got that old college try, and you got the competition. It's fantastic, and competition is something that I don't know from time I was a little kid. I loved competition. From the time you realize there's something you want and maybe somebody else wants it too, all right, who's going to get it? And I absolutely love that. I grew up in a neighborhood where, now I've talked about it, we had a circle, and in that circle, it's kind of like a cul-de-sac, but it's more of an elongated circle in the middle. And we'd play football and baseball and kick the can, all sorts of stuff. That's where base was for hide and seek. And the cool thing was we had a ton of kids around my age. I had two older sisters, so there were kids their age. And, you would have people at different times, but everybody from, just above toddlers to all the way up to like high school kids. And they would come and, we would congregate there. And then you start, you play football, you play baseball, and you learn in your circle, no pun intended, who the best players are. And you set up teams based on, try to even them out. And then, the parents would be out front watching. So that was like the crowd. So I was exposed to that at an early age. And you know who the best players were and what their strengths and weaknesses were. Then got a little bit older, we go around the corner and there's York Terrace Park. Well, there it wasn't as familial. You had people from, I don't know, junior high age on up, and even men would come out and play. Like they had basketball courts, huge parks, so you could play baseball, softball, whatever. And it was, half a mile from my house, maybe a little further. But the people that were good in our little circle, okay, now how do they rate against, a bigger group, a bigger sample size? And it was interesting. Some measured up, some didn't. Some were, they were at the top of that group. And then you keep going. And it's life, but I'll make some corollaries there, but it's just from an early age wanting to win. When people say winning is not everything, please. Yes, it is. And I've heard people, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. Well, if you play the game good enough, you win. All right, let's get some of that. And then Charlie Harper says, it's not if you win or lose, it's if you beat the spread. Yeah, but it's just always been a thing. And then on and you go on and, you play tennis. I remember playing tennis in college, and the difference in a Division II and a Division I team, quite a difference. And then you play in your your regional tennis stuff. You win the state, okay. Now you're going to play other states. Whoa. And then you move to California, and it's just a totally different level. But it's always competition, and that's good for you. I believe it with all my heart. Competition, it's good for you. And competition, the woke crowd's got a hold of it, saying, Yes, well, you shouldn't keep score because you're going to hurt someone's psychological situation. You're going to harm their emotional state and their mental health. Yeah, horse hockey. But competition, as I'm talking about it, it's the process of acting or striving to win or to achieve something by outperforming others. That's okay. It doesn't mean right and wrong. It can mean win and lose, but the way I look at it is win. Somebody doesn't always have to lose, but then again, losing builds character, and I don't like to lose, which drives me to want to win. Losing is horrible, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And with this, I'm talking a lot about personal competition. If my team loses tomorrow playing football, I'm going to be upset, especially depending on how they lose. Did they not play well? Did they make dumb mistakes at some point that cost them the game? That's involved. But that's someone else. I have no control over that. I got control over me. I'd like to think I've got control over me. Sometimes more than others. But competition has been around forever. There was a time when you lose and boom, you may lose your life. Now that's losing. I can see that affecting your mental health. That's something I think I'd prepare for if I was going to lose my life. But I love some of the quotes, so I'll throw a few at you. Competition is the fuel for greatness. Without it, there's no drive to improve. Without competition, we'd never know how far we can push ourselves. Wow, that's so true. And then competition forces you to get out of your comfort zone. I don't like comfort zones. And unleash your full potential. Fantastic. So when you compete for stuff, what are we competing for? It's a trophy. A trophy. And what are those trophies? And by the way, a participation trophy? No. I remember when I was young, I mean, money was tight on a lot of the organizations that I would compete in. And you usually get maybe a first place. Occasionally you get a first and second place trophy. And that little trophy, I mean, they were tiny. They were like that. And if it's basketball, it's just the guy standing there, a little statue on a small plaque, $5 trophy. But they didn't have a lot of them. Everybody didn't get a trophy. You had to win to get a trophy. And then they start playing team sports and everybody gets one. What in the world is that about? There are no participation trophies. And if there are, you need to consider what your competition is, rather in work, home, or play. And there's trophies in all of them, by the way. But what kind of trophies do we work toward now? Yeah, I'm not living in the past 100%. Let's talk about the trophies now. What's a trophy? Like you in negotiations and you win a deal at work. You negotiate a new contract. Maybe your trophy is respect. Get the respect of this group. It's a competition in here, and you have that a lot in conference room types, and everybody wants to say something, and they're not going to give you, a physical trophy or put a crown on your head, but you have earned the respect of the group. Or maybe it's dominance. Whether it's physical dominance, intellectual dominance, whatever. Dominance is a trophy. Maybe it's money. I do enough of this, and I got a commission or bonus component to my compensation. All right, here's what I want to get. When I get to that point, I won. There's your trophy. Maybe it's just admiration or security. I want to get into martial arts and be able to defend myself. I want to be able to do, have enough money to where I don't have to worry about finances, whatever. That's a trophy. And sometimes they're competition against you to get there. Survival. Go back to the Survivor, the reality TV show. Oh, that's a competition. Oh, that's definitely competition. Early on, what are our trophies? And just not to be sexist, but getting the girl. Competition, you want to see two guys who really don't care about a game they're playing? Well, put a girl around or put a trophy in some way. Yeah, the things we would do to get the girl, the things we still will do, I guess. But it's still out there. And then in competition, though, you always have those when they lose that accuse the others of cheating. Oh, he cheated. Yeah, I would have won that. He cheated. He broke the rules. Blah 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 blah. That to me, the first one that says you cheated. Winners never complain about somebody cheating. So when somebody complains about somebody cheating, and people cheat, they do it. And I used to love it when somebody would cheat and I'd still beat them. Oh, I'd love it. But there's a difference. There's a difference in cheating and seeking every conceivable advantage to win. I'll go to taxes. People cheat on their taxes and they can get in really big trouble. There's a difference in tax evasion or cheating on your taxes or finding every little deduction and loophole and things that I can claim by their rules. And there's a big difference in that. Well, that's the same way with competition. And I think a lot of people are quick to blame someone for cheating when they just didn't prepare. I'm going to find out everything I can. If I'm in negotiations or if I'm in competition with someone in business, I want to know as much about their company as I know about my company, because that's where I find all the nooks and crannies that I can differentiate myself. Okay? Preparation is key. People that are, don't prepare and they go against somebody that does prepare, first thing they're going to do is accuse them of cheating. And what do you see? Baseball? Somebody's hitting 150 home runs. What's that form of cheating? Steroids. They got to be all juiced up. Everybody, because there's such a prevalence in cheating, now if anybody wins, they're accused of cheating. And it's unfortunate. But you can call me a lot of things, but I'm not a cheater. I follow rules. I really do. Now, I will bend that rule. I'll bend that rule until it's about to break. Or I'll push the boundaries as far as I can within the rules. But I don't cheat. The whole purpose of competition is to do what? It's to win. This whole thing about playing and not keeping score. Are you kidding me? They're keeping score. There's nobody who doesn't keep score. I mean, I can't even imagine it. We would yell the score out after every score, no matter what it is. I remember playing ping pong in the commuters lounge at UNA in college. You had people all around, and you got to keep score. You got to have bragging rights. Bragging rights might be the trophy, but you got to keep score in a society that doesn't keep score. How are you going to measure yourself? And so you got to keep score. But winning is not a bad thing. Winning is why you play. But some people think, you shouldn't have winners and losers. That's inherently wrong. It causes emotional and psychological harm. If you lose, and then they say especially children. I lost as a child a lot. And that's why, and I didn't like that feeling. Not liking that feeling is what started driving me. And I still lose. But if you're constantly on the losing side, they're worried that failure is going to inhibit your will to participate in the future. Well, all right. Well, we need to work on that. But that don't inhibit the people who are striving to get better just to keep one person or someone from losing all that. Let's work on their skill. Where is their game? What do they need to be doing? But don't penalize everybody else. And the overemphasis on winning it's been beaten up. It's been criticized. Highly competitive environments, what does that do? It builds highly competitive people and it raises the bar. But some people just look at this, that as a win at all costs. It's going to make you cheat. It's going to make you do an unfair advantage. No, that's what losers say. Victory is a great thing. They need to taste it. We need to find a way to make people who don't win a lot, let's get them to win at something. Let's find something. Let's have shorter goals. We'll talk about how to do that in a bit. But also people talk about, well, that strains relationships. If you got a winner and a loser, well, I don't always go hold hands and sing kumbaya with whoever I just beat. It's part of losing. That's why you don't want to lose. This whole concept of let's soften the sting of losing, that's what creates perpetual losers. Come on. That's ridiculous. But in our woke society, it's, we've got to think more about this and the long-term effects. Oh, please. Oh, stop. Oh, I'm going to hang myself. And then you talk about, well, why did they win? Well, they had an unfair advantage. They're from a better family. They're from means. They're richer. They have access to resources. Well, that might be the case. But I'll point to the Williams sisters. They were playing tennis without nets at first. Did you know that? They were poor. They worked at it and got well. I don't agree with them on a lot of stuff, especially after what they did when they got their fame. But they didn't have means. I was playing tennis tournaments with a borrowed racket and a stolen hotel towel. Don't talk to me about means. That's what gives you the grit and the fight. And a lot could be said for those who have all the means or spoiled. Well, they don't prepare as hard. When they lose, what are they going to do? Something's not fair. That's okay. Competition. Many times I've repeated this, and I heard it earlier. Competition doesn't build character. It reveals character or a lack of it. But you gotta have that competition. I've also heard it distracts from collaboration. Well, sometimes you don't have to collaborate. And then again, you can give me just about any situation where competition happens and there is collaboration at some point. Even if it's an individual sport or an individual thing that you're looking for in your life, acceptance, all those other trophies that I just said, you can do it all yourself and, it makes you feel great. But a lot of times you do ask for help. You need help. When you get out there to perform or execute whatever, it may be on your own. But many times, and I'll say most times, you've collaborated. You're not just out there doing. These people who are complaining about competition, I think I know a little bit about them. But people who are maybe they didn't get enough hugs. Maybe they never won anything. Maybe they went at it differently. Maybe they accused other people of cheating. But, while competition, it can motivate improvement and innovation. The idea that it always results in losers, that can be viewed negatively. Yeah. Always losing can cause harm. Yeah. Especially if it's not handled in a healthy and balanced way. Yeah. But at what point are you going to be a meaningful member of society and be able to put on your big boy pants and get back out there? If you always lose and never compete, you're never going to win. And that taste of winning, that's what drives you on. So this whole thing about competition is bad. We can't have winners and losers in life. Bull feathers. We're going to have winners and losers in life. So, hey, you know what? let's try to win. Yeah, winning is a good thing. Please. So winning, the reason I think it's so important, there's several reasons I think winning is important. Now, I'm not saying you have to win all the time. Winning is everything. If you ever lose, you suck and your life's not going to be good. No, I want to talk about why winning is so important. Because I'll just several reasons here. Winning is important because it validates your work, your effort, your skill. It is. It's like it's a measuring stick, almost like in the parks in the circle that I talked about earlier. Hey, I'm pretty good at this. Let's go toughen up the competition. Hey, I did okay here. All right. And you're looking for a ceiling there, but it validates. Yeah, you are pretty good. Pat on the back, shows your skills. Maybe it shows that your strategy, your sales strategy, I just go out and I do this and I seem to sell a lot. How am I compared to other people? Okay. Well, we've got a fourth quarter incentive. All right. The winner of that gets a bonus. The winner of that gets a prize. The winner of that gets a vacation or gets something shiny. Or they just put our names up, who won. That's as much motivation as I need. But okay, let's do that. All right, my sales pro, what can I do? How can I? And you get better at it because you're competing. So it validates your skill. Another thing, it just as far as motivation. Okay, this whole fourth quarter incentive or whatever we're doing, whatever that trophy is, that's motivation. Yes, and with that, I've talked about how important momentum is. Oh, it's so important. But when you're successful, it's also boosts your morale. Here we go, and you want to do it again. Let's go for this again, and you'll get greater achievements. You may not win, but you're striving for something and you're competing. That's going to raise your level rather than, I remember when we would just go out and hit tennis balls, or we would just go, just different sports, different things out there. If there was a tournament coming up, we practiced hard. If kind of like with a band and band practice, if you're not playing a lot, you're just jamming. You're not really focusing on it. But if you got a big gig coming up, you're going to work on the details of that song. That key change there, and you'll spend time on it, or the beginnings or the endings or the gaps between songs, things that are important when you're playing live. If you don't have gigs coming up, there's no sense of urgency. There's no, we got this. We've done this 1,000 times. Same way with the tournament coming. You got something to get better at. I need to work on my down the line backhand. Let's drill that. Without competition, you won't do that. Without the prospect of winning, you won't do that. Working on role playing and sales type things, in negotiation against somebody for a big contract. You're going to a party and there's going to be some people there and you're going to meet new people. You need to be on your game and your social skills. You can be yourself, of course, but there's certain things that might happen you need to prepare for. That's all competition. And winning is when you leave, you got what you set out to achieve. That doesn't mean everybody loses. Now, does it? But that motivates you. And that's necessary. That, of course, a lot of people, me included, you're looking at credibility or your reputation. This is huge, of course, in sports, but like for lawyers, winning your case. Somebody coming in and that can close the deal. Whether it's a car deal or whatever, they go get their manager, they came in, and the closer type deal. You get that reputation. You got that credibility, and you love it. And when you lose, it hurts that. But it just makes you drive to win again. Winning. And then it gives you more opportunities. The more you win, the more you impress, the more opportunities you're going to have to showcase that, more opportunities to win. I remember when I would play, we'd go to the park, like I said, and the men would play at one end, and the younger guys would play at the other. And so, because the men's game was tougher, and they gather on the weekends, and but they probably do a little rougher with each other. And of course, they're bigger, taller, stronger, blah blah blah. I remember many times, but I remember the first time the teenagers, maybe not quite high school, were playing at one end, and I remember I'll never forget it. Hootie Crittenden, who he's a legend in that area, but I heard him yell down, "Hey David, you want to play?" What had happened is they would play mostly 4-on-4, but somebody had to go, and Hootie's team needed somebody, and he was looking around. Okay, no more men. He looked down. He knew I played, and he knew I wasn't half bad, and he asked me to come play with the men. And everybody on that kid end of the court was like, "Oh wow!" It was like getting called up to the majors. And I'll remember that, and I was thrilled. But in a way, a lot of stuff that I had done, and in the youth basketball and all that, I was a decent player. But that earned me the opportunity to play with the men. And then very often after that, it happened very often. And so that was fantastic. But winning and sharpening my skills gave me that opportunity in a bigger arena. That same situation happens in work, in social settings, in churches, in different organizations. If you are good at what you're doing, it's gonna be noticed, whether it's a hobby or a skill at work or playing the piano, playing the guitar. One thing with my keyboards, I'm not good, but there's very few people that play in Southern California. I moved there. Before long, I'm in 5 different bands because they heard I play, and I'm not an ass, kind of a good bandmate. Boom, that led to opportunities. But you got to get out there, sharpen your skill, and you win. And then, in a perfect world, there's financial rewards or additional resources. Sometimes it's not just money. Through winning, you get the deal, you make the sale, you impress, you get the promotion. You get to negotiate the next promotion because they really want you to do something. Somebody's trying to hire you. All right, let's negotiate. What's it going to take? Well, I'd like this. I'd like a signing bonus. I'd like, yada, yada, yada. All of that comes as an accumulation of winning. You've got social challenges. You need friends. We move a lot, so we have to make new friends if we want to. But there's ways to do that. Word gets out. In the garage, in the cul-de-sac, we moved there, didn't know anybody because a couple of people came by, had a good time. They sold somebody else. If the garage door's up, come on by. Oh, they're a fun hang. Yeah, then they started hearing music and laughing. Other people come by, want to know what's going on. Before long, just by being happy, being positive, being friendly, cordial, you win the trophy of new friends, new acquaintances, an atmosphere. But you've got to compete. You've got to compete. Without competing, you are losing. So there's a bunch of different kinds of competition. I've talked to it. I've tried to paint a picture of competition, not just on a, you win, you live. You lose, you die. Now that's some stress. But, the whole peer competition, I think that's what we think of when we think of competition. But that's not just a foe across the net on a tennis court. This is, this could be a colleague at work that you're fighting for the same promotion or fighting for the same benefit. You're fighting for the same, top performer gets an office where the other one stays in the pool. All right, whatever. That's what the trophy is. You may be competing against a peer. A key competition that happens all the time that is devastating to some people is that self-competition. You're competing with yourself. I'll say sport. I'm a sports guy, so golf. Golf. You're trying to get to a certain. No one else's game matters at all. It's your score against your standard or where you want to be. It's your performance at work. You get up there, you got a big presentation, and you may have blown it, but self competition means improving your skills, learning things, being curious, and just overall development, whether it's professional, physical, interpersonal, or whatever. You've got to build that up within you to compete. And sometimes the competition internally is much greater than external competition. But I've been in competition against, you've got certain ways, standards. We've just always done it that way. Maybe it's an industry standard. That's how we do it. Well, I've got this idea. Now that won't work. Well, why don't we try it? Well, we just never done it that way. All right, well, see, that's a competition of ideas. How do you stay up to date? And it's one thing to get them to use current things that work. Oh, now when you're a leader and a visionary and you're a winner over and over, convincing them to step outside of it and be ahead of the curve, a brand new idea no one's ever done. I love that. And then when they let you try and you succeed, you have won, and the trophy is, you can't measure it. That, to me, that's one of the greatest feelings. I love it when I get calls from people. How in the world did you do that? Well, and a lot of times it's, hey, pay me and I'll tell you. But it's that satisfaction of you've built your skills, you've learned, and you're succeeding. And that can happen at every level. I don't care if you're a 13-year-old kid, knocking on widow ladies' doors saying, can I cut your grass? All right, you get enough of those and there's winning in everything we do, but you have to compete. Yeah. And the thing is, to go back to areas where we compete, just the market will demand certain things. Right now, I'm hearing the market is demanding teachers and nurses. Yeah. Labor in the field, a skilled labor. You go to vocational schools and that's your bricklayers, pipe fitters, plumbers, all of that stuff, machinists, all of the VOTEC schools, and whatever you call them in your area. But all the technical schools teaching the trades, 100% placement. It's hurting for that. So, all right, you want to win? What are your goals? You want to, look, I just want a good job. I'll work hard, but I need to make a living for this. I got that trophy I want. I talked about, Dave's magic lamp. What's your dream? All right. Well, work on your skills, compete maybe against the market. A faceless person you're competing. They need 10 guys. All right, I'm going to be one of those 10. You get in there by sharpening your skills. That's competing with your room for growth or for your acumen. But the competition is what's going to drive you. And then, just a lot of people say they're not good at this, but they are. And then a lot of people aren't. But that whole relationship type stuff, the networking, building that strong social network or professional network, or getting access to people that have the skill level you want. That's important. But a lot of people are competing for their time. What makes you different that I should spend time with you? What's in it for me? That type of, sharpen those skills to be able to say that. We're all in sales. So do that. But see, you can see all these areas where competition plays a role. And some of it's healthy. I think most of it's healthy depending on how you approach it. Because competition, one reason I think it's very healthy is it encourages continuous improvement. All right. Yeah, I think back. Okay, I'm even learning songs. Like I remember a very difficult song, you learn a very difficult part of it and you practice. And it's clunky. It's horrible. It's clunky. And then you kind of get it. And you do it over and over and over. And then you go to another part and then you learn that part. Well, as you're learning that part, the former very difficult part is so easy now. And over time, it's all easy. And you can play it in your sleep. That's continuous improvement. And that's how competition and the striving for winning and keeping score will drive you to keep on. If you do it enough, you know that, yeah, it's rough now. Any sport, when you start playing it again, it used to be good. You get out there and, oh, my goodness, this is so tough. Or when you start running again, that first time you start running, you can't breathe. All these things. But winning was what is going to make you do it. A weight loss program. My goodness, I need to lose 40 pounds. All right. That first 10 is pretty easy. Then 15, then now that last 10 is rough. But remember what it felt like when you did that? That would be winning. That would be your trophy. Think of it that way. But it encourages continuous improvement. A lot of times it will make you be more creative. What are some other things I can do? What are some different ways to achieve this? How can I do this faster? All right. What would happen if I slowed down a bit? Is the quality going to get better or not? So being creative, that's what competition and striving to win will lead to. And then I tell you, a lot of people don't compete because there is instant accountability. There is instant assessment of your performance. So they just don't play out of fear of losing. That's a shame. So if you do, all right, that accountability. Personally, I love accountability. You know what accountability does? It allows you to prove you can do it. Anytime I was in a situation where a supervisor or superior was going to hold me accountable, oh, great, just tell me the measuring stick. And I can prove I did it. And I love being able to prove I did it, individually. I accounted for that part of our win. It's fantastic. A lot of times in football, quarterback gets blamed for the win and gets credit for the win or blamed for the loss, whether it's his fault or not. All right, let's measure my contribution. We'll measure whether I win or not. And one of the two final things around why it's so good, it builds resilience. The preparation that creates the win or the loss, it makes you tougher. And then when you win a few times, because you've endured those losses, you're resilient. You're tougher. You'll do what it takes to win. You'll go through some losses to win because that taste of victory is so great. And then people that dislike competition, the ones that just don't play. Why is that? You got people like that? I know some people who'd rather not play and then risk failure. Yeah. Yes. I'm just too stressed. I can't do that now. I can't take on that project, which is fine. That's great. But if it's just because of fear of failure or laziness or something like that, I'm not going to give you another chance. Or if you're going to come in and you're going to be negative, or if you're negative about the whole thing, there are people, and I don't play the lottery. Is it play the lottery? I don't do that. Not because I'm not judging anybody that does. I just don't. But I don't criticize those that do. Some people don't play the lottery. Well, it's just $2 million. That's not really enough. If it gets up to $5 million, I may buy a ticket. $2 million couldn't help you out there, buddy. You got a stain on your shirt right now at work, and $2 million wouldn't help you. But just people that are negative all the time, or people that just I don't like conflict. Well, just win. Go at it. If you lose, there's no conflict. It's just that's something wrong with people like that, in my opinion. But there all there's a lot of psychological advantages and psychological disadvantages. I've heard them all. I buy some of them, but I don't. But it's just it's the way I'm wired, and if you're not wired this way, I get it. But when I see people step out and try and compete, they get something out of it. I tell you, the defeat. If I'm going to lose, I want to lose early and move on. I don't know if I've told you about my what's it called with the cycling. It's got a word. I can't believe I'm losing it right now. But they did. There was a spinning class. Remember we lived in Orange County, and there was a gym right at the edge, a Gold's Gym, and upstairs they had a spinning class. I'm thinking, all right, I like to ride a bicycle. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And the cool thing is they had a 5 a.m. spinning class, and sign me up. You go in and it's dark, and they've got this massive stereo system, and then all the screens come up, and this horrible, horrible old lady named Mary comes in, and we get on the bicycles, and we start to go, and I'm thinking, uh-oh. And she is pushing us, calling us out because we have numbers on our bicycles. Oh, and it's one of those where you're going at a screen and you'll tilt or whatever, and then she'll say, "Okay, get up," and everybody stands up and starts cycling. And I'm thinking, I thought we were just going to be riding bicycles. It sounded so much fun. Spinning, you know. It's spinning. Oh, I did a walk of shame. 10, 15 minutes in, I grabbed my towel, put it over, and she was heckling me all the way out. Now, that is one time where I realized it was humiliating. I was so glad to be out of there, and I know I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to focus on things that I enjoy and I have an acumen for. And someday, when I get started riding a bike a little bit, it would be my dream to go back in that class and just finish it. Yeah, and go give Mary a big, firm hug. But I lost. It was utter defeat. Kind of like the Jersey cow who tried to jump the barbed wire fence. Utter destruction. That was me that day. So, hey, I lose. But the thing about when you start doing this, when you're facing competition with a challenge and an adversary or a group or whatever, to me, there are certain things that helps you develop the right attitude. First thing is you got to keep your emotions in check. Keep your emotions. Don't get all caught up in things like in your emotions like anger or fear. Oh, I hate this guy or something. Don't do that. You got to stay calm. That rational approach is going to help with your training. Otherwise, your fight is inside with your emotions. You can do this by, different, you prepare ahead of time and then relax. Do you see them take deep breaths? But, in the Olympics, before they hop in the pool, the swimmers, they're loosening up and they're taking deep breaths and getting ready so that when they have to go to action, boom, they let all their preparation take over. So, you're going to feel triggered. People will do things in real life to poke at you, to try to get you emotional because they know the worst enemy of someone in competition is facing someone else with a cool head that's prepared and not emotional. So keep your emotions in check. Then focus on, this has been a tough one for me, but I'm there sometimes. Focus on personal growth or achievement and not revenge. Now, and I'm talking everything. When I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about just tennis or just sports. I'm talking about life. And anytime a situation comes to where you want to do well at it, it's a form of competition. Revenge is a motivator. It is. And that might get you there. But during the situation and the competition, keep a cool head. Focus on, here's what I prepared for. I want to get better at this. At that time, I want to rub his nose in the ground. No, that's going to go back to the emotions. So focus on growth. Set goals for yourself. You can prioritize something. If something's coming up in 6 months, all right, you can work toward that. As you work toward that, though, work on your skill set. Don't work on revenge. I'm going to get them. Oh, I'll show them. I've lost 3 deals to that company. Going in, I will get them. And you'll end up angry, and you may badmouth a competitor, or some of your lesser savory traits will come out if you're focused on revenge. Another thing is you got to understand who you're competing against. You've got to understand their strengths, their weaknesses. Have some empathy toward why they are the way they are. But this goes back to, it's not cheating, it's finding every advantage available. What are their weak spots? Where have they lost in the past? What are the people's characteristics that may have won against them in the past? I'm not talking sports. I'm talking everything. I'm talking in work. I'm talking socially. This may be, someone you want to make friends with. You need to overcome them as an enemy to make friends with them. Who knows what the competition is? But don't personalize it. Understand your obstacles, but don't personalize it. That's very important. Because when you do this, you're going to learn to be adaptable. And I see it every day. When I go speak in front of a group, I've got to be adaptable. All right, who spoke before me? All right, what was that topic? What was their style? Is it, I don't do after lunch anymore, but okay, is it after lunch? Is it after a break? Is it, what's coming after me? You need to know that environment. And still, when you start speaking, you're not going to believe this, but everybody doesn't love Dave. I don't. What? It's true. I don't know why. It's a character flaw. We can't all be me. I've been told that before. But you got to be ready. You got to be adaptable and be prepared. Overall, be prepared. Keep your head. Don't make it personal. Don't make it about, rubbing their face in it. And then, and you perform. You do whatever. You have the meeting. You have the gathering. You have the lunch. You have the social deal. You have the match. You have whatever it is. And then when you win, celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. I love the celebration. It's fantastic. When you lose, find something to celebrate. Yeah. This is tough, especially the better you get at something. I find people who don't ever win, I didn't win, but hey, I didn't suck as bad as last time. Yeah, okay, good job, man. Find something to celebrate, or you'll be less apt to compete again. I mean, that could be, a close match where this guy destroys everybody else. My buddy Bryce, I've told you, I had closer matches against him than a lot of people because I played against him all the time. I was used to it. I wasn't intimidated per se. Honestly, I never expected to win because he was that much better than me. Which is not a good attitude. But there were certain things that I could do. If I get an ace, if I return one of his unbelievable serves, certain things I could pick out and celebrate that. And then in business, a million different ways to look at it. You break it down. You set your goals. You have different milestones. So it's competition is so important. Keeping score is so important. Winning is so important. I hate to lose. And I don't use the word hate. I don't like the word hate. I hate to lose. So I encourage you, compete. Find something to compete in. You don't have to find something, you're already in it, but understand where there's a competition, and competition is good. So prepare, compete, and learn. Compare, compete, and learn. The winning will come. It's very, very important to being happy, confident, eager, positive, all of those things. It comes from competition. All right. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you got something out of this today that will make you want to compete and win. Please reach out to me, David at otalks.com or Dave at otalks.com. Makes it a little bit easier. Otalks.com is the website. You can get on there, and I don't sell this stuff behind me, but you can buy it. And then Instagram, Twitter, it's Otalks Official. And then YouTube, got everything up on YouTube. More stuff's coming. My intern, Kara, is doing a fantastic job. More to come on that. So stay tuned, tune in. But most of all, thanks for talking with Dave, and giddy up.